Pin bowling is a combination of pinball and bowling to sort of make a sort of a top golf version of putt-putt, but for bowling. Like you're in a giant pinball machine and you bowl into it. No flippers though, just one bowl. That's a general idea, but it's not cartoonishly overdone or anything. Something you could actually build. I'd really like to bowl like that myself, just for fun. But designing and building the features seems like even more fun. But I'm not going to be organizing anything like this myself, so I thought it would just be fun enough to describe, how I imagined it all working. So here we go. So for the bowler, the experience is that you just go to a place that looks pretty much like a bowling alley, but inside is kind of a giant DIY pinball machine land. You have a line of short bowling alleys like a usual place, but they're a shorter runway to a larger bowling arena. Maybe the alleys are arranged in a semicircle to direct all the bowls towards a larger center arena. Maybe. Anyway, everyone basically bowls their ball into this giant pinball arena. Your ball is tracked by RFID or something, so anytime you hit a doodad or a spinny thing or whatever, you get the points. The ball return is more or less a free-for-all, maybe just 3 ball weights for simplicity, since it's really not about skill. This is just goofy fun. And maybe you bowl each alley in sequence, or you're randomly assigned an alley. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. The arena is as variable as any pinball machine or putt-putt course. You can go nuts with all kind of themes and new and interesting displays and interactions. It can change. I'm talking about ramps, loops, holes, tubes, every crazy Rube Goldberg device you've ever seen in a pinball machine or putt-putt course, and hopefully even more creative from there. That's the general idea of what the bowling experience would be like. But in my mind, the actual bowling experience is pretty much less than half the point of the whole thing. The real fun is building it all, watching it get pummeled, fixing it, and building more things with what you learn. Now, of course, you could hire a corporate goon squad to spec out some joyless consumer-centric implementation of all this, and you'd probably come away with a mediocre ROI that's not worth the effort to people who only have coin-operated imaginations. But to me, the arena presents a kind of a rolling community DIY project opportunity. It could work a little bit like Mardi Gras or Christmas decoration competitions or something, but instead of floats or lights, people make the most interesting giant pinball mechanism they can. Pinewood Derby kind of stuff, Robot Wars kind of stuff, but hands-on for everyone. I'm not sure if that's really a thing people are looking for these days, but it just seems like it would be a lot of fun. There's a lot of intersection of technological skills needed to design and build something that would work like a giant pinball machine. It's kind of a multidisciplinary challenge with some reasonably tough requirements but very low consequences. Let's consider a simple bumper. You've got some woodworking, graphic design, and painting, maybe a little sculpture to make it visually interesting, metalwork for the frame and guards, maybe some welding, but nothing critical. Electrical considerations for the lighting responses, sensors for scoring, maybe a sound, but that could be centralized for the whole arena. And that's just a passive unit. Others could include mechanical responses. Now, you obviously want to reserve powerful mechanical forces for more skilled and experienced builders, but there's sort of an incremental range of opportunities. You can start people out building or upgrading bumper-style objects and then let them graduate to crazy pneumatic ball launchers. Designing and building a bumper would be a decent challenge for a high school shop club or something, and they get to see how it stands up to serious abuse. And there's some integration challenges to make the whole thing work together in a way that keeps things fun for the players. It might be pretty challenging, but I'm pretty sure I could come up with a basic system just using standard wireless networking protocols. An extensible open source home automation system could be forked to develop an arena control system. On the arena side, it's pretty much an IoT electronics challenge that can be solved with a generous application of ESPs, Raspberry Pis, type microcontrollers. You got some Wi-Fi and networking challenges to assemble all that into a useful data stream. Servers for the inputs and controls, and some kind of UIs. Of course, that's a criminal simplification of what would be a pretty complicated software stack, but it's doable with reasonably cheap off-the-shelf gear and open source software. And I like that the whole thing could provide opportunities for like 90% of any curriculum you can think of as final project from junior high to graduate level, or plus anyone else who just wants to make some stuff. And it doesn't have to just be pinball analogs either. It could incorporate RC vehicles, maybe have a full contact mech bowling night where people do kind of like a Robot Wars, but it's bowler versus robots, and the robots just try to survive being demolished. I don't know. Maybe shouldn't get too desensitized to that kind of thing in case the machines become sentient. But anyway, at some point it becomes a big multi-purpose DIY arena. But the pin bowling thing gives it more a definite personality and a purpose. And maybe in some universe a way to be financially viable, but I'm not sure where that universe is. In this universe, insurance and liability stuff probably makes this a non-starter. But I don't know. Demolition derbies exist, so there has to be a release kind of thing. I don't know, maybe just save this for that other universe. It seems like this would confuse a lot of people and mostly attract people for the smashing aspects. It is fun to imagine, though. Easiest thing would be if someone just made a VR pinball bowling game, so at least I could do the bowling part. But I get bored with that after a few minutes and wish I could build a real one and then laugh at myself because I'm way too lazy for that, and maybe writing about it is just good. It does need a better name, though, than pin bowling. I'm open to suggestion. Pin bowling just sounds like a redundant way of saying bowling. Pin balling, maybe? I don't know. Whoever builds one gets to name it, but until then, I guess it's just pin bowling.